attachment specialist here. I'm all dressed up nice because I'm used to doing this. I just got home from the big attachment immersion retreat up in Vail, Colorado. Some of you guys were there. Thank you for being there. It was wonderful connecting with you. Guys, it was a great experience, but I want to talk to you about something we did talk about up there that was big for most of the couples who joined us: resentment. A lot of you guys are dealing with resentment in your relationships. Ladies, a lot of you out there are struggling with that internal resentment you wish wasn't there. You wish you didn't feel it. You wish you could just let it go, but you can't. Guys out there, some of you are also dealing with resentment in the relationship. Maybe you're feeling it, maybe she is, and you're trying to fix it or overcome it. Relationships with resentment, it's one of the biggest issues there is. Resentment, I call it the silent divorce maker, because resentment does a few things that lead into the worst territories. If there's resentment in the relationship, it's one of the biggest risks for divorce. So if you're in a relationship or been in one, or if you're dealing with resentment at all, I'm glad you're here today. We're gonna have a talk, okay? I'm gonna show you what to do about resentment challenges. I also want to let you know that I've got a new video course coming in June. It's going to be huge. How to build a secure marriage, the entire blueprint, start to finish, for those who aren't in a marriage yet, or for those who are in one and find themselves struggling with resentment. If you want early bird specials on that, make sure you sign up for my free newsletter. It is linked down in the description for those of you watching the replay. It's also on my website, adamlanesmith.com. Click on resources, click on attachment newsletter. That's where you'll find it. You're going to get the early bird specials sent out there for that very, very special offer. So make sure you sign up for my newsletter. It will come out. Resentment. Hey guys, welcome in here. Jackie, Sophia, thank you from Africa. That's quite a long haul, but I'm glad you're here. Resentment is a big issue. Okay, let's talk about where it comes from and why it kills marriages. I was a marriage and family therapist for many years before retiring from that practice, so I could now coach people everywhere on every continent, even Africa. Here's what you need to know. Okay, resentment begins when we feel pain. I feel pain. You don't care. You are continuing to inflict pain on me through the circumstances. I feel like you're continuing that circumstance either on purpose or without caring about me. I feel like my pain is now your problem and your fault. I have tried to work with you and you won't stop the pain, and I'm still feeling it every day, and it's your fault. Over time, this builds what's called a cortisol association. You associate the cortisol and pain in your brain with the other person, and you believe that they don't care. You believe that it's your problem to deal with and they're not going to help you. In fact, they might be benefiting because you're suffering. They might be enjoying it, or they simply might not care because they get what they want. This is resentment. Now, over time, as this cortisol association continues, it gets worse. Your brain switches to a place where you do what's called othering. The other person becomes essentially non-human. You love them, but your brain treats them as a threat. They're the wolf that keeps coming around and eating your sheep at night. They're the fox that keeps getting into the hen house, right? They're the other tribe who keeps coming and stealing from you. And now your tribe is starving because of them and they won't stop. Your brain begins to make it okay to look down on them. And this begins something called contempt, disrespect, essentially. But contempt layers in. I have contempt for you as a person. I cease to see you as a person. Sometimes, and quite often, the other person has contempt for you, and that's where a lot of the resentment comes in, okay? If you've studied the Gottmans and the horsemen of divorce and death of love, you know that contempt is the biggest indicator and the biggest factor that they look at to say, yep, that couple will get divorced. There's contempt in the relationship, divorce. Almost certainly. It's a massive, something like 93 or 98% success rate. Huge. But contempt usually begins quietly, silently, as resentment. If your relationship is stuck with resentment, it's because one of you or both of you is in pain. And the other one, odds are good, doesn't know what to do about it. So Hanlon's theory says, do not ascribe to malice that which is adequately explained by stupidity. Okay, somebody simply not knowing. Ignorance might be a better word than stupidity. Do not assume someone is maliciously hurting you if it could be in simple ignorance. Okay, not maybe ignorance of the situation or ignorance of it being solvable. Now, there are definitely some people out there that want to hurt you. I want to make that very clear, guys. Do not throw yourselves endlessly into relationships trying to save the other person and never having boundaries. This is not what I want to say. The research actually shows that we're up to perhaps 20% personality disorder rates now. in our society. Very big warning. But the vast majority of couples out there are dealing not with maliciousness, they're dealing with lack of understanding, no skill set, right? Attachment issues through trauma and lack of skills, not knowing how to connect with other human beings and not knowing what's even possible. So if you're dealing with resentment in your relationship, you need to sit down and have a very specific conversation with the other person about capacity. Capacity. Resentment is usually two things. The presence of pain, yes, but then an ongoing, unsustainable life cycle that diminishes your capacity for living, joy, happiness, fulfillment because of all that pain that you're experiencing, and the lack of fulfillment. Lack of fulfillment can be felt as pain as well. Lack of emotional intimacy, okay? Lack of connection, that can also be huge, okay? So again, look at the resentment, look at the pain levels, discuss pain. This is something I talked with my group up at the retreat about. Level 1 needs are pain. You have a need to not be in pain. This doesn't mean a pain-free, euphoric life, but if something in the relationship is causing pain, you have a need for that to be reduced. If the absence of something is inflicting pain, you have a need for that to be added. You have a need for that to be grown. Emotional intimacy. We can measure this through oxytocin levels, serotonin levels, right? You have a need for an absence of pain in relationships, okay? You also have a need for sustainability. This is your capacity. Your relationships must be sustainable and not drinking endlessly from you without fulfilling enough back, okay? Now, children who need from you may not be a fully sustainable two-way relationship, but you as the adult have taken that on, so you're choosing to give to them as they grow. This is something that parents do, or mentors even, for someone they're mentoring, teachers for students, right? People who adopt, things like that. You are taking on an unsustainable relationship, but you're actually making it sustainable long-term because you are getting something out of the experience. It's not traditionally sustainable and mutual reciprocal yet, because you're caring for this person who needs more, but that's a child. Adult relationships you engage in must be sustainable. Okay? They must be sustainable. So resentment comes in when we are in pain for so long that the relationship is not sustainable. And we're constantly eating our own capacity just to try to make up for it. Okay? An anxious person gets resentful in the relationship when they give and give and give and give and give, hoping the other person will reward them, and they don't. Then they get resentful. You guys learned about this in my book, Exhausted Wives, Bewildered Husbands, right? Where the wife is giving, giving, giving for 20 years, doesn't get back what she's want, gets hurt and resentful. The husband's confused, but sometimes, quite often, keeps making it worse and pushing back and refusing to take care of her needs, or doesn't know what they are, and then it explodes into divorce. Okay? Massively high. A relationship must be, you have a need to have no pain. You have a need for a relationship not to be painful. And you have a need for it to be sustainable in the relationship. Resentment comes from these first two levels of needs. There's a third level of needs, which is optimization, but it's not usually the culprit, because most relationships where they're stuck in resentment are stuck at those first two levels. Okay, now your level 3 needs might also be causing problems, but it's usually 1 and 2 that's doing it. I'm in pain because you're starving me emotionally by not intimately connecting with me. I'm in pain because of the choices you're making, or it's not sustainable because you're not reciprocating with me and nurturing me or allowing me to help. This is an unsustainable cycle. It's unsustainable or it's painful. Those are the things that are happening. So how do you fix this? Well, it's what we call building a securely attached relationship. It's by having discussions about your needs, discussing the pain you're feeling, and then both of you getting on board to reduce the pain each of you is experiencing, either because of things that are being added, that's called managing yourself, so you're not causing pain to your partner, or by including the things that are starving the other person and not feeling connected, okay? Adding the healthy intimacy components that are going to nurture each other. Number 1. And then having a conversation about how to build this into a sustainable rhythm where nobody feels fatigued, exhausted, burned out, or uncared for. Open, transparent conversations. Warmth, intimacy, mutual fulfillment, okay? Negotiating together, not transacting. These are not transactional relationships. It's negotiating together with the assumption that mutual fulfillment is the target. And let me know. Let me know. All right, I think we're back. I had a strange technical glitch. Can you guys see me? Can you hear me? I hope that you can. Let me know if you guys can still see me. Let me know if it went down for a minute. Let me know if it was back up, but we're good. I'm still here. Okay, you're still here. Gotcha. Thank you. The way you fix all of this is by having those clear, exact, direct conversations where you share that intimacy and connection. Vid stalled. Yeah, I don't know what happened. My internet's great. It's just the world. The world doesn't want you to learn about interactive and intimate relationships. So here we are. Okay, we're going to do it again. We're going to do it again. Having the direct conversations and building a mutually fulfilling relationship together. And if the other person flat out refuses, now it comes down to having a conversation about capacity. Women get this wrong quite often, in a good way. They try to be fulfilling, but they stop from sharing consequences with the other person. So the other person never has consequences for their actions, so they never take it seriously. I just had to give a conversation in the attachment circle, my group coaching group, where I had to talk to them and say, look, here are 12 consequences stacked in order that a person should lay out, not punishments, but consequences for capacity issues, right? I'm sorry, I'm not going to be emotionally available to you because I'm so drained in this relationship. I need to find ways to fulfill that. I'm not cheating. I'm with family. I'm with friends. I'm going to have to take care of myself and spend more time on meditation, prayer, yoga, whatever it is. I'm going to have to start taking care of myself, and I'm going to be less available to you as a consequence. I wish it wasn't that way, but this is what has to happen as part of our capacity. I'm sorry, I'm not open to being physically intimate with you because I'm not receiving the emotional intimacy I need, so it's an awful experience for me. It's not that I never want to touch you again, it's that I can't do this with you. So if you want physical intimacy, here's what's going to have to happen. Can we build that together? I would love that. I would love to connect with you. I just don't have capacity now. Okay? 12 capacity-based consequences as you diminish that in the relationship. And again, not punitively. This is not to punish. This is not making sex a reward they have to earn. It's, I don't have the capacity to give this to you because of the situation. Can we work on this together so that we both get what we need? If the other person is building resentment in you, stop. Put the urgency back on them. Okay? Not only have they put the urgency on you, but now they're relaxing as you are stressed. It's painful and unsustainable for you, and that's the resentment. Put the urgency back with appropriate consequences. Again, not punishments. I am sorry that I don't have this capacity, and I wish I did. And I would like to have this kind of relationship with you where I do give you this. I would love to give this to you, but I cannot. And I'm going to need to take some steps to fulfill and protect myself because of the situation. If you would like to change the situation, I would love to have that conversation with you. Here's what I would need. If you're ever willing to do that, please let me know. But until you are, I'm not going to be able to have this with you. That's a great conversation to overcome resentment, okay? Or the sort of consequences we should have. I just talked about that actually a moment ago, but there's 12. I can't go through all 12 today. I do that inside my coaching practice. It takes an hour, but I cannot have physical connection with you. I can't have sex with you. I honestly can't. I wish I could, but it doesn't work for me that way. I can't just, as Queen Victoria told her subjects, close my eyes and think of England. I'm not willing to do that anymore because it makes me feel used and sad and unloved. Now, if you want to have physical intimacy, I would love to do that with you, but for that to happen, here's what would need to happen. The emotional connection, emotional safety, emotional intimacy, date night, right? Talking, sharing, respect, fulfillment. I would love to share these things with you. Right now, because of the circumstances, I cannot. If you'd like to change, please let me know. But until you do, I don't have the capacity to give this to you. It's not that I won't or refusing to or don't want to. I don't have capacity. You want me to give you $20 and I have $2 in my pocket. Okay? If you help me get $20, I will give you all $20. Capacity. Capacity-based conversations. This is what resolves resentment. Put the urgency back on the other person and be clear about your capacity. Again, not punishment. You cannot do this as punishment. That is manipulation and control. Capacity-based conversations, transparency, okay? Have that talk. That's what starts to resolve resentment. If the other person is simply ignorant, it gives them consequences so they can say, wow, that really is a problem. I see that. Okay, well, hey, you know what? I'm willing to give this with you. I'm willing to try this. I'm going to try this. Let's give this a shot. Then you could build an intimate relationship. And if they are manipulative and hurtful and selfish and don't want to work with you, it'll become very apparent as the relationship goes on. And now you're giving as little as possible because your capacity is almost zero. And then it's easier to disconnect. And you don't get taken advantage of. So have the capacity-based conversations in your relationships. Even if you're not boiling with resentment, have those conversations, okay? I am coming out with a video course in June, how to build a securely attached marriage, how to build a secure marriage, okay? Again, if you sign up on my newsletter, the attachment newsletter is on my website, adamlanesmith.com, or it's clicked down in the description for those of you who are watching the replay. Thank you. Make sure you sign up for the early bird discount on that course because it's coming very soon, you guys. But in there, I walk you through the process of either setting up a capacity-focused relationship at the beginning or shifting into one if you guys are at odds and fighting right now and feeling resentful, starved, and unfulfilled. You've got to fix that immediately. So you guys asked, I'm building an entire video course to show you exactly how to do that based on my years as a marriage and family therapist, now as a relationship coach and the attachment specialist. I'm going to show you how to do that. So guys, drop your questions down below, boot camp or this new program. Jackie, if you're wanting to build a securely attached marriage, this new video course will show you what to do. The idea is as you fix a relationship and build a secure relationship, it pulls both individuals in and helps improve their attachment to become more secure as individuals too. Now the boot camp is a great lead into that. If you want to build secure attachment yourself to make this process easier, you 100% can. That new course coming out next month in June. Make sure you're signed up on my newsletter for the early bird discount. I do not want you guys to miss it, okay? Beautiful. All right, drop your questions below in a comment, if you would, please. Words. Drop your comments and questions in the comments. I love seeing and respond to those, you guys. I will be back again to talk again. Let's meet up and talk about more attachment and more challenges then. In the meantime, make sure you're signed up for my newsletter on my website, and I'll see you there.